Well, YouTube, we're going a little hands-free. This is building off of the what happens if that tensioner bolt, the T45, gets rounded out by the Yahoo who did it right before you. Well, after much ballyhooing and relentless pursuit of getting this done, we were able to take a pile of destructive tools to get it halfway. We're not there yet, but we got the idler off of there and got it over this little bearing housing, and now we need to plunge on through and get down to the bare bolt. So we're using the something from the Chinese embassy, aka Harbor Freight, and we have an extended reach 90-degree grinder, which basically is a die grinder with a long adaptive shaft. So we'll cover that in more detail, but it is actually delightfully just about right to get in there and get this handed off. So the intent is to cut through the bolt head and be able to get down in there with a pair of vice grips or something else and get the bolt backed out of the block. So we haven't done any massive hammering because, as you can see, that goes right in here into the aluminum block, and that is going to be absolutely unforgiving if you start going crazy. So we'll bring you back when we made some more progress. Okay, YouTube, you're seeing the culmination of about an hour's worth of work to get that separated and leave the bolt in the block. So that was the center. You kind of see the mess I had to work with here. I'd reach down and grab it, but it's a little hot. You can see that the bolt heads is right there, and it was all hogged out. So now you know what's in there. Bolt goes through the sleeve, and strangely the sleeve is far harder than the original bolt that actually rounded out. So we're going to try to grab what's left of that stud and try not to do any damage and see if we can get this project back on track. Bring it back. Okay, you're going to see it here first. Let me zoom in there a little bit. You can actually see the bolt. Sorry, is actually turning. So when we released the tension on the center portion of the idler, this section right here, that allowed the bolt threads to loosen a little bit too, but not enough. So I had to get in there with a pair of vice grips, and I think we're going to be able to save this puppy without making too much of a nightmare out of it like it's already been. So I'm going to set it down over here. Let's see here, got a decent angle. Not too bad. Alright. Now, the thing about vice grips, if you don't respect them, they will smack you right in the knuckles. They're a great tool in a pinch, but not for every situation. Whoops. Sorry about that. I'm going to loosen it up just a smidge here. Finger loose, but it's not bad. Okay, we'll finish getting this out. We'll bring it back. We are rounding up a couple of the parts, and let's do a somewhat of a post-game show here. The bolt's out. This is the bolt that actually clamps like that. The Torx bolt, the T45, is right here. You can see it is hogged out. I ground off a little bit at the top. I was trying to get underneath it. That wasn't proven to be successful, so we kept escalating the hostilities until we actually got it out. So in celebration of everybody's YouTube mentor about getting things out, Bruce Whitham, I kind of applied some of your methodology. It's, you know, release the tension and then start working on the fastener. So once I severed the connection internally on this, which allowed the pressure of the bolt head, which was clamping everything together, once I relieved that, that relieved the tension on this bolt, and I was able to get it out fairly easily with some vice grips. What's interesting to me is I checked this tensioner before I took it apart. The bolt inside, after all the drama, it's actually backed off a little bit. So change the angle here for you, sorry about that. So I got it out, and it wasn't easy. So took a trip to the Chinese embassy, Harbor Freight, and we finally got it out of there. Now we can actually proceed with the original one, and see how this job's going to go out. But this was an example of exactly what Robert DIY was talking about. When you get some yahoo who goes in with a cheesy T45 and actually sets in motion the rounding out of this bolt. To me, this bolt isn't very hard. The actual ring around it, the bushing inside, was actually far harder, specifically even to grind through. So I don't know how else I would have done it. The reason I chose the path I did is there's a lot of plastic in that general area, and I could have welded something on and went that route, but sparks and all that other stuff, it's just, you know, I don't have an easy access to a MIG welder here. I'd have to go in with a stick welder. That probably would have made a heck of a mess. So anyway, it's done. We're going to proceed with the project, but this is exactly what happens when things go wrong. And heed the warning that Robert DIY cited for everybody. Don't mess around. Use a good socket. Bring it back. Just recording the escalation of hostilities today. We started off with the die grinder and just trying to take the edge off, and that was a fail. We tried the air hammer to just kind of split it because I figured it was cast iron or something. It was split easily, negative. And then we went to the extended length right angle die grinder with a grinding wheel on it, and that actually is what brought it home. And we finaled with the vice grips to actually back the stud out. So you can see the escalation hostilities. No torches, nothing like that. It's down and there's not much access room. So just putting that down to show you kind of how I was thinking my way through it.